Dr. Palmer here, and I know you've already seen the video of the infamous chair and all the things surrounding Black Catharsis. So you might be wondering, what's going on with the outpour of glee coming out of the Black community around what happened when this white family decided they were going to gang up and literally try to beat down this Black security guard. First of all, I want to really make clear, because I don't know if everyone's making it clear. Those folks thought they could just kill that man in the middle of the street. That's what was going on there. If it wasn't for all those people who jumped in, I don't know what was going to happen. One of the guys came and kicked this man with his knee from a running start. That's not something you do for self-defense. That's not something that you do to kind of try to stop a fight or whatever. You're trying to do deep, permanent damage to someone when you do something like that. And if you saw, that whole group of white people, that whole family decided they were going to engage in an American pastime and basically lynch this man, because that's what happens. That's what a lynching is a group of white people become offended at a Black person living their life or having the audacity to tell them to do something, and then they try to kill them in the middle of the day, right? They had mom there and auntie there and everybody there. And if you're coming into this late, you're probably seeing all the memes and all the things that Black people are doing to kind of commemorate this beatdown that happened on TV. But you might not be understanding the deeper realities of this, because when I say that this is a catharsis, it's this moment of release for people in Black community. I mean that to be the truth. Black people have been forced to watch over and over atrocity happen, between police violence or random neighbors, Karens doing different things, Black men trying to jog, getting shot down on the street, Black people being thrown to the pavement, Black people having guns pulled on them for trying to state their rights. And I'm talking about guns being pulled on them by private people and nothing happening to them. If those people hadn't intervened, that man might have died. So before we get into anything, let's just understand how serious this actually was, and how those people were the Black people who came, that family, whatever, the family reunion from the boat and all that stuff. They were enacting policing. That's what that was. That was actually community policing, stopping an assault. So whatever else you might say, oh, they shouldn't have done this, they shouldn't have done that. And if you're sitting there trying to tell me that violence is the answer, well, you know what? When someone's being violent, then you have to stop that violence. And, we can talk about effing around and finding out, but you saw it on the tape. An important piece to understand about all of this is that we need to attend to the fact that this catharsis was so effective and needed within Black communities. What must it be like to be a Black person in America, to have so much glee in seeing a man being defended by other Black people and winning, right? So it's not just that they got him off, but they beat those people back. Think about where our minds must be, how embattled we must be, how unjust everything around us must be for us to feel so vicariously joyful about something like this happening. There's a power to it, there's a truth to it, and there's something that people they really shouldn't ignore. When we talk about revolution, when we talk about, the idea of getting free, when we talk about the struggle, this is the struggle we're talking about. The right to live, the right to not be harassed, the right to not be beaten by other people and having that happen with impunity. White people live that all the time. White people in America don't worry about having mob violence be enacted upon them. They don't worry about having police violence being acted upon them randomly. That's what it means. Like when we talk about freedom, white folks living free in America. Black folks been catching hell, and it just so happened in this one instance that hell got reflected back. And for the folks who, the folks who think about the past of black people in America being some sort of passive thing, this is indicative of what it was like when a riot happened. We didn't just lay down and die, we fought. And it was through numbers and through higher access to ordnance and firearms and bombs that white communities and white police forces would come in and basically suppress a community and then massacre that community. But it wasn't because folks didn't fight back, and it's never been because people didn't fight back. When Africans were chased down and kidnapped in the continent, they fought back. When they were being marched hundreds of miles, they were fighting back. When they were stuck in dungeons, they have special chambers, death chambers that they have in the dungeons that you find on the slave coast in West Africa, that basically a person gets put into and they're expected to die because they needed to do everything they could to suppress that fighting in black people as they were being trafficked by white people, by Europeans. They had their ways of doing this to men. They had their ways of doing this to women. On the slave ships, revolts happened. On the disembarking and embarking and all the stuff in between, revolts happened. And once folks got here, revolts happened. And that's why you see all the different things, all the different systems, including policing systems, that are put together in order to stop black people from enacting their basic human capacity and human desire and human right to be free. So I think it's important that people understand, and I'm saying this as a psychologist, that people do not like to be placed in corners. And if given the opportunity, they will fight their way out of it. And that's what we saw in that video, and that's what so many black people are giggling about. It's not just about the chair, even though a lot of people found it satisfying. You got to understand that when you work to suppress a people and oppress a people for however long it's been happening, and when you push back and you talk about these like backlashes, and they say, oh, there's a backlash to Obama and a backlash to liberalism and all this other stuff, that backlash has a cost too. There's another backlash waiting. So maybe people should think about whether they should try to beat down black people in the street. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe if this continues to happen, more things like this will happen, and then what do we have, So that's my thoughts on the amazing chair situation, the Air Force One, Aquaman, and all the other things that came from this. Don't get me wrong, I ain't saying that, I don't think it's my job to either condone or not condone violence. But when a person's being beat down in the street and there's no one stopping it, and then people stop it, let's make sure that we understand that the violence was started and was what was initiated by those white people, and the fight was finished by the black folks, which is pretty much what my mama told me to do too. So keep pushing, y'all.